Hello and welcome to WePC. My name's Jack and today we're going to be taking a look at this. This is the Comino GRANDO RM. It's a completely configurable server workstation water-cooled beast that costs around £28,000. And what is that configuration? What on earth could possibly cost £28,000? I'll show you. So straight away you'll notice this cluster of 4 GPUs. These aren't just any GPUs, they're RTX 3090s, like full 3090s, 4 of them. They are the Gigabyte 3090 turbos, and thankfully they've got rid of that god-awful fan blower cooler and stuck nice water blocks to them. The CPU installed into this beast is a 3975WX Threadripper Pro. And that sits in the Asus Pro WS WRX 80 Sage. That's this motherboard here. The motherboard deserves a review all of its own, but I'll just go through the key features it has. So it is the SWRX8 socket. It does have a plethora of connectivity, including 10 USB 2.0 ports, bunch of USB 3 ports, Thunderbolt, 7 PCI Express slots. 7. You could fit 7 single card GPUs in here if you wanted to. And to support the Threadripper, we have a massive 256 gigabytes of RAM in here. This is the Gigabyte Designer RAM, a new workstation RAM that was fairly recently launched. And you'll find no fancy RGB here, it's just raw, unfiltered performance. Like, this thing has 64 cores, 4 3090s, 256 gigabytes of RAM. It is huge, massive. And it all has to be powered by not 1, not 2, but 3 power supplies. 3 750 watt Comino power supplies. And that's huge. Have you ever had a PC that needs 3 power supplies, Jay?
I don't even have one PC.
There you go then. This is 3 times the PC Jay has. So Comino markets the GRANDO RM as a kind of workstation, server-oriented sort of machine. And that it basically is. The one that we got sent is a VM machine, so it has 4 virtual machines inside itself, 4 separate Windows 10 machines that all share this clump of resource we've got here. And that is also the reason for the water cooling, to keep everything nice and cool. It is, after all, designed to go in a server rack, and servers run hot. So this machine is 4 virtual machines in one. Technically it has 5 OSs installed on it. The Ubuntu LTS package is the surface level VM manager, and it requires 2 cores and 12 gigabytes of RAM to function properly. And that is the share of resources that the Ubuntu package gets. So it's not exactly an equal split of resources among the 4 Windows 10 machines. Every machine, bar one, gets 16 cores, or 16 threads, 8 cores, 16 threads, 64 gigabytes of RAM and 1 3090 each. And with all that, we have an 8 terabyte SSD here, an 8 terabyte SSD, which gives each machine 2 terabytes each. And this SSD is pretty fast. It's a Samsung PM1733 SSD, supporting 7,000 megabytes per second write and over 3,000 read. So I did mention before that this PC, or workstation, I don't even know you can call it a PC, it's more like a nuclear power plant. So this power plant is water cooled. And it needs to be water cooled to keep all the components cool. Just 1 3090 is enough to heat most houses, so imagine having 4 in one box. So here we have all the water cooling components. We have a fully custom AMD TR4 SP3 water block that covers both the Threadripper CPU and the 16 power stage VRM heatsinks on the motherboard. As you can see, this copper pipe here is what covers the VRMs. That is not unheard of, but definitely nice to have. The cold plate does extend beyond the CPU and cools the VRMs, which is absolutely important. You don't want surges or high temperatures causing problems with your power, especially in a server that's designed to run 24/7. These tubes are about as thick as your standard hose pipe, and they are very and they're nice and sleek and black, and definitely clipped on there with what, I don't know what, are they Jubilee clips? Where do all them pipes lead? Well, you will see here in front of these fans we have a distribution block. I couldn't find any information really on what distribution block this is, but it may be custom. Everything in here seems to be custom. Comino do make their own custom water cooling components for blocks, CPU blocks, GPU blocks, distribution plates, so it very well will be. So fan wise, we do only have 3 fans in here, surprisingly. So they are 140mm Noctua 3000 RPM fans. And as you'll see in a minute when you turn these things on, they'll look like they'll take your finger off. We have a massive, thick, like thick with 2 C's, Alpha Cool radiator. It is massive. I think it's a 420 millimeter, might be a 360. I think it's a 360 to be fair. But just look at the thickness. It's like 3 inches thick. It's massive. Obviously you've got a massive TDP here. I think of about 1400 watts TDP, which is quite a massive TDP to cool. The reservoir in this is a rectangular, fully custom reservoir from, again, Comino, and it holds 450 milliliters of water, so plenty, nearly half a litre. And it is situated at the front here. This is where it is. There's your 2 fill ports right there. Rectangular, like I said. Yeah, it's a rectangle. More kind of nearly a square, more of a rectangle. And this bundle of circuitry here is not really to do with the cooling, but it is a Logica controller. So this Logica controller is connected to over 11 different sensors within the Comino. You can read everything from water flow rates to temperatures of air in and out the machine, temperatures of components, pretty much anything you could ever need. And all that information is stored on this custom Winchester display in the front of the case here, and you'll see that when we power it up, just how versatile this little thing is. Comino markets this machine as near silent operation. Maybe compared to other servers, but not compared to just normal PCs. So we're gonna turn this on. Can you hear that? It's meant to be near silent, and it will quiet down in a second. So that was what the Comino does every time you plug it in. It does a self-diagnostic cooling test, where it will test all of the cooling system, and if it deems everything normal, it will give you a nice beep, and it will display on the screen here, cooling system standby, meaning it's ready to use. Telling anyone who knows about servers that this is quiet is like strapping sparklers to your nan's Zimmer frame and telling Elon Musk she's a rocket. Compared to other servers, it is quite quiet, especially when you put the lid on and stand a few meters away. It does sound quite quiet. Having a few of these in a server will sound nowhere near as loud as your standard servers you used to. Noctuous fans are very quiet, even at high RPMs like this. You can cycle through diagnostics and statistics by using either the green or white buttons whilst it's off. You can do this whilst it is on. It will read more accurate data, obviously, about the current state of the machine. So as you can see, we've booted into the operating system that runs or manages all of the virtual machines. This is Ubuntu LTS, which stands for long-term support. You want an OS that's supported at a surface level for a long time for many reasons, one of which is stability, especially if you're going to be having a server running 24/7, you need the support to be there. LTS remains in support for a long time, doesn't have as many harsh updates, and stays the same for generally a longer amount of time. So here is the virtual machine manager inside Linux LTS. Here you can manage all 4 of your virtual machines. We've currently got 2 running right now. And we do have a web console here for a more in-depth look at the whole system in general. As you can see, these are the statistics for the whole of the Comino GRANDO RM machine. 64 CPUs here. We got a nice overview for how much CPU, how much memory we're using. I was just on view graphs there. This is the interface where you can go and look at literally everything. You have full control of all machines and the system within this local host. So Linux is a very versatile package, and you will never really need anything other than what's already installed just to manage virtual machines. Of course, if you wanted to turn it into like a wireless sort of standalone server, you might want to install something like Proxmox on it and get that running with virtual machines on a network. But primarily, as it stands right now, it could be used for a workstation with 4 people plugged into it. You could divide the resources further, but generally I think 13090 is enough. A virtual machine is no different to any other Windows machine. Just the fact that it's virtualized, you can install Steam, you can install Adobe Premiere, whatever you want, it's Windows. We're just within a machine, virtualized, so it's not a computer, it's just a machine. You can make it whatever you want it to be, and even if you get it shipped in this configuration, there's still plenty of things you can do with it. You can make more virtual machines, less virtual machines, you can make them into wireless virtual machines. You can make them into a collaborative machine, anything you want, anything you can think of, any use case you have, it can do it. It's really hard even now, after spending so much time with it, to put into words how good this thing is. So that's about it. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Give the Comino RM some love. This has been Jack from WePC, and I'll see you in the next one.